Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first mini mysteries of 2022. It only took 3 friggin' months, but hey, what can I say? I've been loving Elden Ring a bit too much lately.
God, he somersaulted. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Ah, stop!
Stop that! That's disgusting. Who are these? Stop!
These are like fucking putty men from Power Rangers.
Not gonna they die? What do you
Disgusting.
get from this?
Fear.
Who's been?
But aside from that, I'm very happy to start this episode because it was made possible by all of you, honestly. If you didn't know already, I take suggestions on my subreddit r/Goose and on my email address goosesenpai@gmail.com. I haven't been able to take too many suggestions in the past, but this one is solely dedicated to everyone who went out of their way or sometimes accidentally found some of the creepier content or weird content that we'll be talking about today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's mini mysteries. Starting off with a suggestion by Crimson Soul on Reddit, we have something that might be the quintessential mini mysteries video. It's a video amusingly titled Red Wagon Pistachio Avery Secret Jersey Dance Laugh, and as much of a word soup that title is, the content is a bit stranger. It's a 5-minute long video where most of the content is just nothing. Literally nothing. No audio, no visual, nothing. Until, of course, some time goes by and you get something like this. Now, it can't show you every single clip in the video, because as blurred out as it is, the video itself is very promiscuous in nature, specifically the parts where you can very clearly see a woman's breasts jiggling. I'm not really sure what it all means, and frankly, I can't even figure out why the name of the channel is called Punish Babies. Maybe there's some commentary here about contraception, maybe something a bit more esoteric, but hell, I don't really know. It all does seem pretty freaky, honestly. I mean, it's one thing to have a sort of art house experimental video project that very clearly conveys a message, even if the message isn't very clear, but the obscurity of this video is really what sets me off. I mean, it only has 65 views, and with a name like this, you're not really gonna find many people. Maybe it's a code, or maybe it has something to do with the content shown. Maybe it really is an art house film and some sort of experimental college project. I'm not sure. Well, whatever the case may be, I think this video is both very creepy and very weird. Really, I always love these videos though. You guys bring me these and I have literally no explanation, like zero explanation for these. It makes it all the more mysterious and all the more creepy. Yet, as it stands, this video cannot be deciphered at all. There's no other info other than what's in the video, not even captions, the channel's description, nothing. The name's weird as fuck, but I gotta admit, I kinda love it. Now, the channel is only a year old, so maybe it's got something more in the future, but as it stands, it will remain a mini mystery. Sometime in the summer of 2021, I was given a message by someone who led me to a certain video titled Ferma Ludzka. Unfortunately, I can't find the email anymore, but I do know about the video in question. If I recall, the emailer told me how they found this strange and disturbing video online and had no idea where it came from or why exactly YouTube recommended this channel to him. Funnily enough, if you go through the comment section of this video, you'll find some other people talking about how YouTube recommended this to them randomly. Some even found this on Reddit. The video depicts strange visuals and bubbling noises. It would seem it takes place within a barn, and there we see a man, completely naked I assume, laying on the floor with tubes connecting to him, one from his mouth and the other I assume connected to his genitals. Yeah, it's fucking weird. It's also weird that YouTube would recommend this of all things, but it's been under a few people's radars and well, I wanted to talk about it. Now, if you're just as corrupted as I am from the horror spooky community, you'd already be guessing by now that this might be some sort of weird elaborate ARG or something like that, exploring this channel called well, I'm not good with Polish pronunciation, so let's just say it belongs to Piotr. Piotr's channel is full of this sort of thing, strange analog horror-esque type videos, all with underwhelming views, much of them having some sort of cryptic meaning. Of course, it doesn't take very long to find out that most, if not all of these videos are performance art videos. Even the one called Ferma Ludzka has the word performance in the description, so that rules out any form of ARG shenanigans that might have been implied. Though I would like to take a second to appreciate Piotr's work, as his stuff is legitimately from the 90s and not some strange emulation of VHS distortions and whatever else you see in analog horror nowadays. It's got those grimy, washed out colors with a bit of flicker. It's just so good. He's also had plenty of his other work on his channel. His involvement in all of them, well, I can't be too sure, but I was curious to know what exactly the purpose of Ferma Ludzka was. And wouldn't you know it, I shot him an email through his own personal website, peterstyle.eu. And guess what? He responded. And here's his response. Hi. Now I know why I suddenly got so many comments under this video. It's your work, right? Yes, it's my old performance piece video documentation. The idea was quite simple. I want to put myself in the position of the breeding pig or a cow on the farm. Best, Piotr, his last name. Now, in case anyone was curious, no, I've never talked about Piotr before. Maybe his name was Peter. Maybe I should call him Peter. Oh, whatever. The sudden increase in comments and views is likely caused by the algorithm, as many have mentioned, or someone else's involvement. Well, with that out of our way, I highly encourage you all to view some of Piotr's art pieces. He's got a fascinating eye of the world and might even inspire horror and surrealist lovers all over. There's really nothing more exciting to me than channels that have me genuinely curious, but sometimes I stumble upon videos that may be just a bit more than what they seem on the surface. I was emailed about this channel on YouTube called Xiaoliu? Yeah, a channel that I'm assuming was started by someone who lives in China, as many of the videos are in Chinese and they're all just videos of Xiaoliu driving his motorcycle in the city or countryside relatively fast, but in none of these videos is he breaking the law, or if he is, it's not really noteworthy more than just speeding. However, there is one video that he has that is titled in English, Produce. Nothing more, nothing less. No description, no subs, nothing. Yet, what the video does contain is audio of a woman or a child sobbing profusely, the crying getting worse and worse, and the agony and despair in their voice growing more and more. Now, I have to warn you that if you're sensitive to audio stuff or if your stomach never really sat well with videos like the Brick Lady, then I'd recommend skipping to this timestamp. Otherwise, well, you've been warned. Take a listen. 3.5 minutes of audio, and it's nothing but the cries from what I assume to be a woman in an empty building next to a street or highway with the windows open. Because you can very clearly hear the wind and the outside. It also sounds like there's a shower running, maybe it's raining, could be either. Now, shockingly enough, you are able to hear her speak, but I can't speak Chinese, and I understand Mandarin is a dialect of Chinese, so I can't really determine if that's her dialect. Could be Cantonese for all I know. I'm not really sure. There are also a few times where you can hear her very, very clearly speak, so if anyone out here knows Chinese, please let me know in the comments if you can even understand her. Again, I'll be playing the audio. Skip to this timestamp. I just want to emphasize how clear you can hear her voice and how clearly you can hear her talk. Take another listen. Now, with my ratchet detective skills, I tried using Google Translate to capture some of the clearer parts of her speaking, but to no avail. The title at the beginning, however, was translatable by Google, and in English roughly translates to "Howling, you take me to the hospital first." So what could it be? Well, let's dive into the deep end and talk about theories and work ourselves up from more logical theories. First and foremost, the more outlandish theory of most of us would probably assume already, automatically thinking that this is some sort of horrible crime happening. The title Produce could be interpreted as a sort of sign or code that gives away what's happening here, a woman being carved and harvested of her own organs, begging her captors to let her go or to say that they're hurting her in some way or shape or form. The water droplets could be from the bathtub, the shower overhead, or perhaps a water hose draining away the blood. The building sounds empty with no furniture whatsoever. Likely this is happening in an abandoned building where no one can hear or see what's happening. The title could be in reference of her crying, howling, and begging to be taken to the hospital. Maybe. Or it could be based entirely, literally, with no evidence. Or this could just be some crazy lady in the hallway of some guy's apartment, screaming and throwing a tantrum. The guy maybe was recording the audio as some sort of proof that this was happening, maybe to show the police his evidence, or maybe she was begging one of her neighbors, the guy who captured it even, to be taken to the hospital because of some sort of pain. That doesn't really explain the title though, does it? Well, then that takes me to my third theory, which is simple and very boring, but it's one that makes the most sense to me at least. And it's just random audio of this guy watching a movie or a porno and learning how to edit. Produce can actually be read as produce. It actually is a very common default type name for projects in a lot of video editing software. I remember when I first started editing, my videos were made using a really weird Chinese-made editing software, and by default, each new project was just titled Produce, or Produce 1, Produce 2, etc. It would explain the weird edits halfway through, the titles, the stock image of flowers that likely came with the program, but still wondering why exactly this person decided with this audio, and whether or not that was a good idea to use some sort of, I don't know, practice for his editing skills. I have no idea. This still doesn't really answer why the very beginning of the video is titled Howling, Take Me to the Hospital, so I have no clue. Ultimately though, if it's really just nothing more than what I think it is, then it's just some weird funky video from 10 years ago that has no real merit or worth, just like billions of other videos on YouTube. But if by chance this is a recording of something truly despicable, something incredibly vile as human trafficking or organ theft, then this video is not only illegal, not only a portrayal of real human suffering, but the people who recorded this 11 years ago might have likely gotten away with it, and they will most likely never be found. And this is the shadow that was last left behind before they disappeared. Okay, this one is really, really weird. It's freaky. I tried to put it in Traumathon, but I had no idea if it was like too niche for that. But okay, listen. I just want you to listen to the following song I'm about to give you. Don't worry, there's no jump scare, there's no loud noises, there's not even a creepy face, I promise. What I want you to do for me is to just listen to the song in its entirety. It's only about a minute long, so you don't have to listen that long. And I want you to just leave a comment down below. Tell me what emotions you feel, what sort of vibe you're getting. Just tell me what you think of this song, what it says to you emotionally. All right? Okay, take a listen. So what do you think? Leave a comment down below. I just want to try this weird experiment. Because you see, this song is a song from the Disney trivia game Disney Seen It. Back in the 2000s and 2010s, Seen It was a trivia game on DVD where people would just watch clips from certain movies, then they just answer trivia questions. There was one for pretty much everything: Twilight, Seinfeld, Friends, Glee, all that garbage. Yet for some reason, and I swear to you that I am not fibbing, for some reason, Disney Seen It was believed by many kids to be one of the worst ones because of its quote-unquote unnerving music. That song you just heard, and other music from this specific Seen It DVD, is just mind-bogglingly scary for a lot of kids. And if you visit the comment section of this video, you will get dozens upon dozens of testimonials from grown-ups talking about how they were super scared and terrified by this music, some even claiming to cry whenever they heard it, and some still getting scared by it as an adult. Now, I personally figured that this was some sort of trend on TikTok because a lot of times these sort of patterns happen. It's usually from some horror talk, challenge, basically claiming spooky stuff about seemingly innocent junk when there's really nothing. But I have looked it up on TikTok, and really there's not much on this specific topic. There's only one person who actually talks about how the music did creep them out, but other than that, there's really nothing at all. These comments are also 3 years old, but so is the video itself. There are no other videos that have the Seen It music, so I can't tell if this is some sort of prank or some sort of creepy trend from 3 years ago or something. But honestly, some of these are just from a few weeks ago, so I don't think it's related to any sort of trend whatsoever. When I look up creepy Disney music, Seen It music shit, I don't get anything either. So let's just assume people really are creeped out by this song. Let's ask ourselves why. I listened to the song myself quite a few times, even asking my girlfriend and our roommate what exactly they thought of the song, and they both described it as jolly, adventurous, curious, but literally nothing remotely close to creepy, unsettling, or scary. Honestly, I'm just about ready to say that y'all got some unresolved trauma you need to take care of, but I'm still incredibly curious as to why so many people are so freaked out by this. Like I said earlier, I really wanted to put it in Traumathon, maybe even for later this year, but it's just so niche that I don't even know if it's worth talking about. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if anyone at all feels the same way, or if you felt this way in the past. This next story is one I'm shocked to see very little coverage of, especially when you consider just how massive the fan base is. Since the inception of video games, gamers have been fascinated by the process behind the scenes and what it's like to make video games in general. It's those parts of the industry that we seldom ever see coverage of, unlike movies and TV shows who always seem to have behind the scenes content included somewhere. Video games get almost nothing, and while sometimes what we learn isn't always, let's say, the most flattering things to hear about a game studio or a gaming development company, it's this sort of unknown knowledge that has us curious as to what happens while games are being developed. There are many games that have people curious, but some pique our interest more than others, and one of those games is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Seriously, this is the game Sonic fans love dissecting more than any other. There are tons of lost levels, assets, concepts that people love digging up, and with more and more prototypes and demos getting its files re-uploaded online, we get to see the glimpse of how this game was made, the thought process, and all the other things in between. But something was found within Sonic 2 that nobody would have guessed to find. This is bobnface, an image or perhaps an animation that could be found within one of Tom Payne's infamous box of discs. To summarize, a former artist for Sega Technical Institute, aka STI, was contacted by Sega fans back in 2004 and 2009 about what he did during his time working at Sega, specifically what he had worked on in Sonic 2. Tom claimed he had a box of old Sega assets, including maps for Sonic 2, character designs, enemy designs, backgrounds, assets, animations, and a ton of other things in a small box of discs. At the time, Tom was only about able to share a few of his creations online, most of which was never seen, as most of his creations just remained in the cutting room floor. At the time, this was a big deal for Sonic fans and digital archaeologists who were curious about Sonic 2. Then about 10 years later, Jason Morehouse, owner of Nostalgia Alley, located in San Francisco, had a random encounter with Tom Paine, where he had shortly discovered that he was once an employee of Sega. Interested, Jason asked if he still had any of his old stuff, to which Tom Paine soon revealed his little box of old stuff. Jason, being someone who can archive old files, asked Tom if he could take the stuff to re-upload and archive the files online, and so Tom agreed. Jason, along with the help from the Video Game History Foundation, swiftly went to work and dumped all the files online for everyone to see. You can check out all the files that were dumped in the description down below. There will be 2 different links. One will be leading to the interview with Jason, and one will be leading to the cutting room floor, where you can see a majority of everything that was found. And so we come back to this weird, unnatural, super cursed image. The image itself just has a man with a weird smile giving a peace sign to the audience, while the gates of hell are just waiting right behind him. There's also a sprite sheet for his face, which indicates that this can be animated to show him winking or sad. Oh, yeah, and let's not forget the bullet wound oozing out blue blood. If you think that's freaky, Bob here seems to have his own room, filled with just Bob's face everywhere. Yeah, it's not really any better, is it? But as freaky as this is, there's no real telling what this image was supposed to be for, if it was ever meant to be for anything. Maybe a background image for an unused level, perhaps even a cutscene? Nah, I doubt it. But I do want to stress that as creepy as that is, this sort of stuff is usually hidden by developers and artists within the game's files all the time. It's often a way for devs to vent out frustration or to just have fun during their own downtime. Usually they don't expect anyone to find it. Sometimes this sort of stuff is aimed at higher ups, to clown on them, either in good faith or bad. Most of the time though, it's often due to frustration. I also saw someone theorize that this could be lost assets from a cancelled STI game called Spinny and Spike versus the Nightmare King. Some of the assets that were found from that game somewhat resemble Bob in some way, which makes sense. Tom didn't just work on Sonic after all. He was hired to do a bunch of art for a ton of Sega related games, most of which were cancelled. Despite this, I still think it's more logical that this is some sort of vent drawing from frustrated artists. That dude got a bullet wound after all. I doubt that's something you put in a kid's game at the time. I wouldn't be surprised if the dude just got mad at one of his higher ups, especially considering that Tom left STI because he believed they were quote unquote getting too persnickety. It could have been Tom, or it could have been someone else. Either way, I doubt he'll remember. I mean, this stuff is from 30 years ago. I doubt the dude remembers all the things he drew or did or the times he got mad. Oh well, I guess we'll only have to wait and see. Maybe in 2029, when some random dude finds him walking his dog or drinking at a cafe. I don't know. The world can be small sometimes. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I don't really know how to credit most of you. When I get your emails, most of you say that you don't want to be credited by your real name, and that's totally fine. I understand that, but I'm not really sure if I should credit you in any other way, and you guys usually don't tell me how I should credit you or if you have a channel. So next time you guys give me some sort of suggestion, just make sure you tell me if you want to be credited or if you have a certain way you want to be credited. That would be very, very helpful. At any rate, thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed making these videos, and really, thanks again for the suggestions. I'll see you guys next time. Love y'all so much. Goodbye.